Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Building a Thriving Wellness Practice. I'm so darn excited to share with you one of my all-time favorites. Kaela's here. She is actually the very first coach that I hired that helped me to create and build a thriving wellness practice. And Kaela, I'm just so darn excited to share you with the people that are here to learn more about how they get to do this, that in a way that feels amazing, that feels high touch, that feels high impact, and feels really, really soulful. So thank you for being a part of this summit.
Thank you, Chris. I love every opportunity that I have to talk with you, to see you, to share collectively to our communities. So thank you. This is awesome.
So glad to have you here. So for those of you that are joining us, you know that we have actually covered a lot. We are in the Empower pillar today, and Kaela is really going to talk about some of the things that I've learned from her and the things that she teaches also to her clients about really stepping into this place of power so that you can build your own financial wealth and what is, financial wealth consciousness, and her examples and her analogies are amazing. So definitely grab a piece of paper, grab a pen. At the end, we'll share how you can get more information. She's got some really amazing goodies. So definitely stick around to the very, very end. For those of you that don't know me yet, I'm Chris Williams. I'm a soulful business and leadership coach for women wellness practitioners and women who are also growing holistic practice. And it is my honor to really present this summit with you, sharing the 6 pillars that I take my clients through in the way that I have built my business. And so we have amazing women here that are so generous with sharing their expertise in the way that they too have built a thriving business. So let's dive in, Kaela. We're going to dive into empowerment. So tell me a little bit more about kind of what you see as the importance of wealth consciousness.
Yes, what a great question. So wealth consciousness is a way of being. And excuse my whining dog outside my door. He might whine this whole interview. So we'll just roll with it. We can't edit out the whining. He will whine the whole time. He loves wealth consciousness too. Okay, so wealth consciousness is a way of being, which is a different way to view wealth. So often we think that, wealth is something that I accumulate and stick into my bank account, which is true. Yes, we can accumulate wealth, we can stick it into our bank account. But when we are activating wealth consciousness, it means that not only are we understanding what it means to be wealthy, that our level of understanding, our level of consciousness, that we get it, but that we are actively living it via our being. And so I know that already that might seem kind of etheric or like we're already going into a deeper level. And that is what makes it so juicy, is that it's not surface level. It really unlocks a deeper understanding for us to be living in our life.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So good. I love that. I love because one of the things that I really learned from you is this idea of it really is a way of being. And can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think some people think that wealth consciousness is like this magical, like you said, etheric thing. And really there's science behind it. It's not all woo. It's not all just, let me just meditate my way to success. We know that there's inspired action involved. But before we can even take action, we have to be in a state of being that allows us to create that which we desire.
Absolutely. So our state of being is the foundation for everything. 2 people can have 2 different ways of being and take the same action and create different experiences, because our way of being is like the fuel that we put in the car. So 2 people can have a car, can start the engine. And if we have actually put fuel in one of the cars, AKA we've activated a way of being that propels us where we want to go, we're going to see different movement than if we are in a state of being that is coming from a limiting belief or a style of operating that isn't actually the truth of who we are.
Yes, the style of operating that isn't exactly the truth of who we are. Oh, that's a juicy one. That's one I want to write down for sure. So you've got an amazing analogy that I learned, and it was all about the waterfall. And I would love it if you would share that with people here, because it's so
awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I would love to dive into this. So the way that I teach wealth consciousness is through an analogy that I call waterfall, river, ocean. And so I want to start by reminding you that wealth consciousness is not simply understanding what I'm going to share with you today, it's actually applying it and living it. So if you can logically understand what I share today, that's awesome. I'm sure that you can. I'm sure that you'll follow and that you'll get it. You're a brilliant, intelligent human, but that's not wealth consciousness. Wealth consciousness is when we allow this way of being to exist within inside of us, and then we're activating this. Okay, so we'll start at the top. The analogy is called waterfall, river, ocean. And we start at the top with waterfall. So the waterfall represents source. Please use whatever word for source feels really good for you. God, love, divine, Buddha, Jesus, higher self, intuition, whatever it is that fits for you. I'm just going to keep using the word source because it will be appealing for everyone, I think. So the waterfall is source. Source, divine love, God, whatever you want to say, is the creator of it all. So source is where the water is starting to generate. Source is generating for us, and it's creating all of the power, all of the money, all of the water. In this analogy of waterfall, river, ocean, we're going to play that money equals water. And of course, that makes sense because water is just energy and money is just energy. Everything is energy. And so when we watch how water flows, we can see that money flows in the same way. So source, waterfall, is generating the power that's going to direct where the water, the energy, the money is flowing. And so waterfall takes all of this power and it intentionally, directly, powerfully pours over that energy into the river. The waterfall does not flood the river. The waterfall doesn't trickle down to the river. The waterfall is very intentional and purposeful and mighty in the way that it gives to the river. So while the waterfall is source, each one of us as individuals are the river. Every single one of us as individuals are the river. And as the river, we are open to receiving. The first thing that we get to do, the river gets to simply receive from the waterfall. Have you ever been to a river and have you ever been to a waterfall pouring into a river and you saw the river like putting up a fight, like raising its arms? It's like, oh no, I don't want any more. Like, no, please. No, I mean, Chris, you and I have both been to Iceland, which has amazing waterfalls. Can you picture this? Like just the majesticness of how that waterfall is pouring into the river and the river is just lapping it up. So the first thing that the river gets to do is it receives. The river opens up its banks and it receives, and then it takes what it's receiving and it flows with it. It banks it. It moves the current, the currency of what it's receiving, and it plays with it. And sometimes there are bumps in the road. Sometimes there are pebbles in the stream. There are roadblocks. There are logs. Well, the river just keeps flowing. So there is just a flow, and it just keeps flowing. It keeps flowing. It keeps flowing. And the river flows all the way down to the ocean. And so the ocean is the collective consciousness of all of us. So all of us as rivers get to pour, we get to give into the collective consciousness of the river. Each river gives at the appropriate level of what it has. So the rivers aren't depleting itself. The rivers aren't running itself dry to go into the ocean. The river is giving at the appropriate level of that which it has received. And it stays nourished in its own way while it does that. And then the ocean gets to be large and vast and mightier than the river because it is the collective of all. And so what I love about this analogy is that we can start to look at, okay, where have I been creating a disconnect? Most of us will have a connection to two of those places, but we often disconnect from one. So Chris, I would love for you to think, when you were first really getting to the place you are now, which did you have a disconnect from?
Let's see. I think I was probably disconnected from the waterfall. I was disconnected with the belief that it was actually coming to me.
Yeah. Beautiful. And for those of you listening, that might be you, that you're like, okay, I feel like I can see myself as the river, that, okay, there's something here, there's a little something here. And I really love to give. There are a lot of rivers that love to give to the ocean, and they spend so much time on what can I give? What can I give? What can I give? Because we give in a lot more ways than money. We give in our time, our skill set. We give in a lot of other ways than just money. And we get to give money. That's part of the flow here. But like Chris is saying, that we're not really connected to the fact that, wait, there is a steady source that's always replenishing me. And so we can see that if we have that disconnect, then we're going to keep thinking that there's not going to be enough and that we're going to run dry. And that doesn't support us. I know that for me, my disconnect at first was as the river. I felt like I had been building a strong practice that I could see, like, oh, this majestic waterfall. My spirituality was really growing and I felt really connected to God and was really grateful for that. And I also felt really connected to the ocean and felt like it's amazing that we can all contribute and that the ocean is growing. But I did not see myself as someone who was worthy of receiving, having, banking, flowing, playing, and then giving to the ocean. And so I was like the river that kind of like picked up camp and tried to hide in the forest, which doesn't work. And maybe some of you, the disconnect is the ocean, that you're like, okay, I have a really great connection with source and I can see myself as a river, but I'm afraid to contribute to the ocean because what if that means that there's not going to be enough for me? So maybe that's where you're living.
Yeah. And if they don't believe that there's enough for them, then they also don't believe in the waterfall that is the source that's coming in to support them. And
Totally.
Yeah. Oh my
So
gosh.
what we can see in wealth consciousness is we get to not just understand that this is how money flows, how water flows is waterfall, river, ocean. Money flows the same way. It's not just an understanding, but it's actually living that. It's actually leaning into, do we create the space to connect with waterfall every single day? Do we have a practice of that connection? So we're not just thinking that we're a self-generating river. That's not how it's working. And do we allow ourselves to be the fullness of who we are? Do we allow ourselves to play and bank and move with the currency of our lives? And do we allow ourselves, do we have a consistent practice of how we're giving? And when we are actively being river who receives from waterfall and gives to ocean, and we're activating that flow of waterfall, river, ocean, then we are experiencing wealth consciousness.
So good. Oh my goodness. So would you share a little bit about what that would look like for you? I know that many wellness entrepreneurs, who is what we have here, holistic practitioners, wellness entrepreneurs, I think absolutely resonate and understand this piece. But I know for me in the beginning, I needed like some practical examples, like, okay, yes. And what does that look like?
Great. I would love to. I'm going to share what it tangibly looks like for me right now. Know that this changes for me. Tomorrow, this might look different. And this is one of like millions of ways it could go. So if anything that I share, this is not a prescription. This is not the right way to do it. It's just an example. So if I say something, you're like, oh, I couldn't do that. Great. Then don't do that. Like make it yours, but I'll give you an example for some inspiration. So right now I start every morning for at least 45 minutes to sometimes up to an hour and a half, sitting right here on the couch behind me in my office. And I first start with some combination of a meditation where maybe it's in silence, maybe it's a guided meditation, maybe it's with music. Sometimes that looks like me getting down on my rug and stretching, and it's like a meditative stretching. And I'm allowing myself the first 10 to 30 minutes of every morning is me intentionally connecting with source. So I'm meditating and praying to open up and connect with source. And then I pick up a book. I actually just finished today, Chris, the book that I sent you to, Intimate Conversations with the Divine. So that's what I've been reading. It's kind of like a devotional book. And so I've been reading that, a couple devotions or prayers every day. And then from there, I move into journaling. And journaling for me is really, I allow it to be a blank slate. So I open up to a blank page, I take the pen in my hand, and I let myself connect and have a conversation with God in any way that feels good for me. So like whatever comes onto the paper is what comes. So I'm intentional that I start every single day creating that space to connect with waterfall. What I'm doing in that time is I'm saying, I know that I'm being poured into, and I'm going to show up and open myself up to receive from waterfall, however that might look. Then from there, I am moving into the river. And so I take the next chunk of my morning and I am moving my body in some way. Right now, it's been that I'm either getting on my Peloton or I'm doing a bar workout or I'm going on a walk, but I'm moving my body. And from there, I am laying in the bath. I have showered like in 2021, I took maybe 20 showers the whole year. I took a bath every day. So that's like 330 baths and 20 showers. So I
Yeah.
let myself, right? I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I read a book for fun in the bathtub, or I just lay there and meditate. I actually put myself in that conduit of water. It's as if I'm laying in the river and allow myself to have this space for me. What I'm doing in that time while I'm moving my body and while I'm laying in the bathtub is I am allowing myself to be the fullness of who I am. I'm not rushing to something else. I am taking up this space to be me. And then I'm nourishing myself with a breakfast and getting ready. And then my workday is starting. And so then the next chunk of my day, I am generating to the ocean. So I'm connecting with my clients, I'm having coaching calls, I'm pouring into my team, I'm giving to my community via social media, and I am giving my energy, my time, and my money to my community and the people that I'm working with and my family.
Ah, Kaela, that is such a beautiful example. That is such a beautiful example. And I love how you are just sharing so intentionally, showing how you intentionally are creating this. It's not, like you're saying, nope, I'm going to give to me. I'm going to make sure that I am really full first before I actually jump into my day. And I know that many people get stuck with taking action first, right? What do I need to do? Let me just do the thing, which actually puts us in scarcity and the hustle mode rather than really being intentional about how we want our day and how we want to live our life and how we want to move our business forward.
Absolutely. And I totally used to be the person that when my alarm went off at 6 a.m., I was immediately grabbing my phone, checking my email, responding to email. I was like jumping into the ocean, 6 a.m. dive in the ocean. And that was not creating an experience of wealth or success for me. It was creating burnout, exhaustion, hustle. And what I want to say is that regardless of your circumstances, it will take most likely a mindset shift to be able to shift from whatever pattern you're doing. P.S. You could do waterfall, river, ocean in 3 minutes a day. Mine takes about 3 hours. You could do it in 3 minutes. Like there is a way to start here that can look very, very different. It does not have to look like my practice at all, but it takes a mindset shift of seeing that I am worthy of honoring this flow for myself.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about the receiving piece? Because I know what I hear from my clients a lot, and I'm sure you do too, because it is directly related to our worthiness to actually receive. Can you talk about the importance of that? Because when we don't allow ourselves to receive, when we are always giving, and not allowing us to receive, can you talk about how that actually blocks the flow of wealth coming into?
Absolutely. So here, to use our analogy, here's what that's like. If we're a river that is like, oh, no, I can't receive. I really have to focus on giving. Like I'm here to be a giver. It's as if we've tried to build some kind of dam. So because the waterfall's still pouring, right? Like source is not like, oh, I guess I won't give to them anymore. Source is always giving to us. I think that's what's so important to know. Source is always, always giving. But so often we don't realize that source is giving because we've built some kind of dam in our river. And so then we go all the way down to the other end and we're just giving. Well, if we're not receiving, eventually we're going to come into burnout. Our river will run dry because of the dam that we've put up and there's nothing left to give. And we can get bitter and resentful and start to think things like, what's wrong with me? How come I look at these other rivers that are what's the word I'm looking for? Bountiful?
Plentiful,
Yeah.
plentiful.
Plentiful and bountiful. That's what I was trying to say.
I like plentiful. I think we need to create a
new word. We'll look to the rivers next to us and see what's wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And so this is where we get to receive first. The way that I'm an incredible giver. I am a really generous person. And it is because I am an amazing receiver. I am one of the best receivers that I know. And I'm really proud of that because being an incredible receiver is what allows me to indulge in all of the things that I want to indulge in and give in a way that makes me feel so excited on a consistent basis.
Absolutely. You are one of the very first mentors and models for me to show how you can be so incredibly generous and not only give of your time and of your money, but that not only is that joyful, but that allowing yourself to receive and allows you to do that more, right? Like if I don't allow myself to receive, then there's no way that I can share because the pot in which I have to share is limited. So the more we allow ourselves to receive, the more we can also share with others.
Absolutely.
So you've got some goodies for us. I'm so excited.
I do have some goodies. Okay, so this is going to be so fun. You guys are some of the first to know we have a really cool thing happening. So we do big events twice a year. This coming spring, we have a brand new event and we're so, so excited. So I am going to gift everyone who's listening a ticket to our upcoming 2-day spring event. Chris is going to be attending. It's fully virtual, but we do invite our clients to come in person. So Chris will get to hopefully be in the room live with us, and everyone else can tune in. It's amazing. We have a really awesome tech team. We do an incredible job virtual. You will feel like you're there in the room. It's called Gold, and Gold is an opportunity for you to activate the goddess within. And so here's what I mean by that. We use the word goddess to say powerful being. So if you don't like the word goddess, just sub powerful being. So the goddess within you is whole, worthy, wealthy, and wise. And when you allow for the fullness of who you are to be illuminated, then your brilliance cannot help but impact the world, your bank account, and your business. So during this 2-day event, you're going to discover any energy drains that are existing, that have been hiding and you didn't even know it, and really power up your divine presence to power up your business, your bank account, and the way that you impact the world. It's going to be amazing.
I am so excited to be there. By the way, you guys, whether you virtually is amazing. So
it really is.
It is amazing. You will definitely feel like you're in the room. Don't miss this. Like, this is a hugely generous offer that Kaela is giving our community here. So definitely jump on that for sure. And yeah, I'll be there too. I'm so excited to participate in it.
And one other fun thing. So once you get your ticket, which we're gifting you a free ticket. So that makes it really easy. So once you get your ticket for Gold, you can actually then play what we call as the goddess game. It's kind of like bingo. And the goddess game directly supports you to grow your business. And just by playing the goddess game, you're going to get a bonus gift from Chris. We hand selected 10 awesome entrepreneurs to give a really awesome gift. And Chris is one of those. So you're going to get some extra goodies from her for that. So it's like gifts on gifts on gifts.
Lots of gifts. Gifts is my love language too. I love to give gifts. Like, it's one of my favorite things is to share and to give gifts and to receive gifts too. So it's fun. It's so fun. Kaela, this is always amazing. I just love chatting with you. I love being in your energy. I love hearing your wisdom. And I just thank you for allowing me to share you with others. I so appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm so grateful. Thank you everyone for plugging into Chris's summit. She is brilliant and amazing. And I'm so glad that we all got to share her together today.
Thank you. All right, everybody, we will see you back here tomorrow. And thank you for being here. If you have missed any of the previous experts that we have, you have the link, go back, listen to them. They're all absolutely amazing, and take advantage of it now. It's all free. All right. See you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.